All eyes on Providence, Rhode Island, Saturday afternoon. Arkansas and St. John's. They're matching up in the round of 32. And to be fair to both institutions, it's less about them than the head coaches. John Calipari's got the Razorbacks in the dance in his first year with them. And not to be outdone, Rick Pitino has resurrected a long-dormant giant of a program in St. John's. This will be the 24th all-time meeting between the two legendary coaches whose similarities may be hard to ignore unless you're one of the guys yourself.
We both have big noses, so that's one. And he has Gucci shoes, and I got itchy shoes, so we're a little different there. You know, I don't know. I mean, we're all going to be judged 50 years from now, what we did and how we did it. But, you know, my hope is people look and say they both get their teams to play really hard. They both get their teams at a competitive level. You know, I mean, do we do it different? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm who I am. Like it or not, this is who I am.
Is that a chess match you enjoy, the planning to go against each other, given how many times it's happened?
I don't go against coaches. We go against teams. He doesn't have to worry about me. My jump shot's long gone. So he's got to prepare for our team. We've got to prepare for his players. He's preparing for our players. So John and I don't play one-on-one anymore.
Calipari owns a 13-10 lifetime record against Pitino. That includes their 6 meetings in the NBA when Coach Cal was with the New Jersey Nets. Larry Bird wasn't walking through that door for Pitino's Celtics. They're 2-2 in the big dance against one another. Only Coach K and Tom Izzo have met more times in the NCAA Tournament. Well, we are looking ahead to Saturday's matchups in the round of 32. Russ Taylor here, joined by Tim Doyle and Avery Johnson. We got to talk about Coach Cal and Coach Pitino facing off now for the 24th time overall. Look, they don't like the comparisons. They've never been particularly close, but this is a close-knit. These guys first met when John Calipari was at a 5-star basketball camp as a player, and Pitino was a counselor. These guys go back to when they were wearing shorty shorts, way back in the day. So when you look at these two teams playing each other with these two coaches, Avery, what's the first thing that pops in your head?
Well, that Arkansas has got to make some shots because they're playing against an elite physical team. A team, as Coach Cal stated in one of his interviews, they beat you up for 40 minutes, not 20 minutes. They're going to grab you. They're going to hold you. They get every loose ball. They know how to shrink the floor. You think 6 players are out there on the court at one time. So when I look at this game, and I agree with Coach Rick Pitino, this is not, it's about the coaches, but they're not going to make a shot or have an assist or rebound tomorrow. And I can beat both of them put together, by the way, in a one-on-one at this stage. But I think it's all about how many shots Kentucky, when they made some shots, they played well. They're old teams.
How many threes does Arkansas got to make in your eyes? Is there a number?
Arkansas's got to make 12 threes. If they can make 12 threes, they have a shot. And then this switching defense from St. John's.
Oh, you think St. John's might go zone? Because when Kansas went zone, Arkansas looked like they never played basketball before.
Yeah. But this switching defense, Jonas Adu, who had that big game, he's not going to get those passes in the pocket against St. John's.
Yeah, St. John's looked like 2 different teams against Omaha. They looked nervous. You know, they had a big following there in Providence. They came out. They didn't make shots. They weren't executing. Everything that happened in the first half, it was a 180 in the second half. 50 points. They shot 51%. They dominated on the glass. And at the end of the day, 14 made 3-pointers for St. John's. I'll say this right now. If they make 14 threes in every game in the tournament, just hand them the national championship. Just give it to them right now. Any game where they make double-digit threes, Russ, or they hover around 45% from 3 because they can defend and their physicality, if they're making perimeter shots, it's literally game over. Now, the zone was something that's going to be fascinating to watch because when Kansas put it in, Arkansas legit did not know what to do. And their execution against the zone was terrible. Now, Pitino prides himself on full court pressure, prides himself on man-to-man. I wonder if he you sprinkle a little 2-3 here and there.
I
Would
doubt
you?
it. I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Yeah.
But it was so jarring how well it worked against Arkansas. If I was coaching, and I'm not, I'd be like, maybe we throw this out of possession too, just see what they do.
No, I think St. John's is going to pack it in. It's all about a personnel game. Jonell Davis from Arkansas, they'll play him hot above the three-point line. Most of the rest of the players, they'll pack it in and force them to beat them over the top.
Look, while Calipari and Pitino are sort of loath to talk about their own personal relationship, and not the same when you're talking about Drake and Texas Tech. Their coaches happen to be best friends, and they talk about it in that small coaching fraternity. Grant McCasland at Texas Tech got his team one of the highest-scoring teams in the country, and then Ben McCollum at Drake, one of the best defensive teams in this tournament. They're playing each other. Avery, you've been around a while. The coaching fraternity can be so tight. These guys have known each other since they were sleeping on cots and making no money in lower than D1 basketball. How tough is it, or how fun is it to play against a friend?
It's tough. I had to coach against Coach Greg Popovich when I was coaching the Dallas Mavericks in 2006 in the second round of the NBA playoffs. And that was tough because here's a guy that mentored me. We were together when he was a no-name assistant under Larry Brown. I was a third-string point guard, and now here we are coaching against each other. And for coaches that say, oh, I have to do my job, it doesn't matter, it does matter. I remember when Grant McCasland was an assistant at Baylor on Coach Drew's staff, and Jerome Tang, who's now at Kansas State, was on that staff. And, you know, now I covered him when he was at North Texas. So I know these guys' relationship is tight. We talked to Coach about it when I covered Drake in Missouri Valley Conference. He really looks up to Coach Grant McCasland.
Yeah, Grant McCasland's a fantastic coach, and we were just waiting. I was doing those North Texas games too. We were just waiting for him to get a big job. And they get Texas Tech, and it's like immediately he's turned them into a 180, and they're scoring coupled. He always could coach defense. Now they're scoring. As far as Drake, Ben McCollum, if you don't know the story, essentially brought over a handful of players from his Division II team, and he was regarded when he was a Division II coach as one of the best coaches in the country.
It's Northwest Missouri State.
Yeah.
But he was like being picky about which job he wanted. Oh boy, he chose a good one. And he also had a great player. Now, at the end of the day, JT Toppin's a great athlete, a fantastic player. But Bennett Sturtz, in my eyes, is going to be the best player on the floor. He's the point guard for Drake. He's going to dominate the ball 95% of the time. He's going to end up being difficult to guard. I like Drake in this game.
I saw this kid up close and personal. He moves at his own pace. He's about 6'3.5", 6'4". He knows how to go from fifth gear to first gear without you even knowing it. The Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year, the Larry Bird Trophy in that conference. He's not Larry Bird, but this kid, I agree with you, T. He's special.
Yeah, and the best part is his body is terrible. Like, he's got no muscles. He's got string bean arms. He's not super explosive. Like, you watch him in layup lines, you're like, wait, this is the guy? And then you get him on the floor, and you're like, oh, my goodness, he makes every right decision. He makes everyone else better. JT Toppin's electrifying. Just curious to see if this athleticism really throws Drake off its game. I don't think it's going to.
Going to be interesting to see if these are the last games that Drake is going to have with this head coach, because the whispers about Iowa, for a guy who grew up in Iowa City, and Coach McCollum are getting a little bit louder.
He needs to do exactly what Will Wade did. Just tell him you're going to Iowa.
You think?
Just tell him. Will Wade told his team, I'm going to McNeese State. Just tell him you're going to Iowa.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I thought Darren DeVries would go to Iowa and said he went to Indiana. And now the carousel, all these transferring coaches. You okay with that? I'm okay with it. They're all transferring schools.
The portal is open. Look, the last couple of days have been nuts. 16 games each day. It's the best. Things calm down just a little bit, but then the intensity ratchets up. Only 8 games on Saturday. Is there a team, Tim, that you're looking at and saying, this could be an upset problem?
Yeah, Houston is running into Gonzaga at the wrong time. If they were to play Gonzaga 4 weeks ago, I think they win this game by double digits. But if you've watched Gonzaga their last 2 games, it's been their best 2 games of the entire year. WCC championship game, they lost to St. Mary's twice. They beat them and win handily. St. Mary's doesn't make a 3-pointer. And then yesterday, the game was not competitive. I'm watching Braden Huff. Now, I've been following Braden Huff since he's 12 years old. He lives in my town, okay? They have started him the last 2 games alongside of Graham Ike, who was the Mountain West Player of the Year before he transferred to Gonzaga. Mark Few, I give you credit. Markview was frustrating to watch, pal. I was waiting all year. EK, Huff together. He made the move. It's changed the complexion of this team. I think Gonzaga is a live long shot in this game.
Call me after the Gonzaga Houston game. Houston by 10. But my team is Creighton.
Okay.
Creighton. I think Creighton has a great chance to upset Auburn. You know, Ryan Kalkbrenner, the big center from Creighton, he causes so many problems, especially his rim runs. Pick and rolls, not pick and pop. We talked about Dirk Nowitzki earlier. He's not a pick and pop guy, but pick and roll puts a lot of pressure on the team. Jemiah Neal, 6'5" senior, plays awfully well. Almost had a triple-double. He was about 4 assists from a triple-double in his last game. So I think this 1-2 punch, much bigger. You know, they're going to give Broom problems inside. And one thing about Auburn, sometimes they show up, they're not ready to play, and they're undisciplined. So we'll see what happens.
I love that pick. That actually was my second pick. And we were both on New Mexico over Marquette.
Yes.
So that actually was my second pick. Auburn's lost 3 of 5 games. They're not playing their best basketball. Broom's not at 100%. I think Creighton is definitely live in that game.
It's a reason to watch. It's a reason to listen to these two men, Tim Doyle and Avery Johnson. Gentlemen, thanks so much. The madness is here. You don't want to miss a moment of the action on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. And download the March Madness Live app to watch every game, anywhere, anytime, live.